Is it possible to support trans rights with without supporting hormones being given to people under 18?
Do you have an answer for that immediately?
Yes,
It is possible. Okay.
I think so.
So let's try to have a conversation that most people would find intimidating, difficult, dare I say impossible. I got 3 topics on mine, and I'll let you guys figure out which one you want to talk about.
Okay.
I'm thinking about immigration. I'm thinking about, let's say, a transgender issue. And I'm thinking about, what's another one? Said immigration, a transgender issue. What's the third one? Let's say a religion.
I won't say issues. I would say controversial opinions. I don't think. Everyone has a different view. Like personally, I was like, or I don't know what to say, but I'll let you guys talk first about what you want to pursue.
Yeah, which
I
one do you
think-
think?
I think I probably will have the most controversial opinion on religion.
Religion?
Everything
Okay.
else, I'm like, it just makes sense. Just let people do what they want to do.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of background in religion
Sure.
or understand or like and like a variety, so I feel like I can't really contribute as
Sure.
much, but that's totally okay.
Can I'm going to start off by stating my position on religion.
I mean, we should ask Mark as well.
Oh, yeah, I
Oh,
forgot.
yeah.
Mike, I'm so sorry.
I think I don't know. I have a good bit of stuff to say about religion personally. I have some pretty strong viewpoints. I should also come off like saying like, hey, I'm Jewish. So that will definitely augment my point of view of other viewpoints.
Actually made me think of a fourth one. We could talk about Palestine and Israel as well.
Yeah, I would not to talk about that.
That's fine. We don't have to go anywhere you don't want to go.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
Personally, I have more like knowledge in or like I think more experience with like trans rights and like the LGBT community as well as immigration. I'm a child of immigrant parents, so it's kind of like I know from a little bit of a firsthand perspective.
Would you guys like to talk about, let's say, talk about if children, people under 18, should be given hormones if they believe that they are transgender. You want to talk about that? Sure.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I guess we'll go around. What do you think about that? Should children be given hormones if they believe that they are transgender?
Need a little bit of time to think. So my answers may vary and change, might contradict each other. But I do support trans rights. It's kind of I have a perspective because at some point I did want to transition because I wanted to fit. That's an entirely different conversation. I felt like I wasn't fitting the stereotypes of being a woman because it's like I love video games, I love sports, and people are like, "Whoa, tomboy, why aren't you a boy?" And that pressure kind of made me feel like, oh, I have to be a boy in order to, be who I am. But um, I kind of learned that's like I personally believe like gender is a stupid concept in my opinion, and like even with the whole like misogyny, I think that's really stupid. But I know there's the importance of identifying as a certain gender or not identifying as a gender at all. I think I think kids should or like children over a certain age, like I think children under 18 should be allowed to be able to decide or have an influence. But there is also a certain like period of time where like you're so influenced by the media around you that I don't really know if you can, say that's like really what you want. Again, I don't know how to phrase it best. I'm not communicating it great. It's like there's like a certain period of time when you're still in school, but like you have a conscience, like you have part of your frontal lobe to, I guess, not in a literal sense, but like in a cognitive, like I can make decisions and I understand, like the benefits, the repercussions,
Sure.
it kind of like because the the transgender process is it's a lot of work, and I know a lot of my friends, or some of my friends, did transition when they were younger, and they did say like it was hard to handle because it was both in dealing with in school, and then like the physical and emotional change, and it's like they're glad they did it, and I'm happy for them that they did it. But some of them sometimes they're like, I just wish, maybe if I was more prepared of like how much of an impact, or like how emotionally difficult it would be. Kind
Okay.
of just like whether that's like from your parents. Most of my friends, their parents were not. Unfortunately, they didn't support them, and it made it really hard for the students, especially when they were students in school, having to juggle both being a student and going through such a large change.
Okay. All right. What are your thoughts on it?
Yes, with an asterisk.
Okay.
I think you touched on some really good points and a lot of things that I agree with. So I want to talk about it more from a scientific approach. So the thing that people generally express as a symptom of wanting to transition or change their gender is this concept of gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria can be like in terms related to like medical diagnosis. It can be a symptom of something, but it can actually also be the quote unquote disease or the source of the problem. And there needs to be checks and balances through talking with a therapist, talking through resources, having your community around you, like your parents and stuff, and your schools to really know the concept of what transitioning is, to be able to well determine if this is either a symptom or actually a cause of something. And until we get really, really good at being able to tell the difference, and we are making progress towards that, I would say yes, if this is the actual issue that you are expressing, if it is an actual result of you not feeling comfortable with gender, but if it's a result of you not existing in the realm of what gender identity in your environment says that you are supposed to be, then that's a completely different story. So I think ideally what it should look like is a conversation with your with your psychologist or psychiatrist and getting an understanding of where this is coming from. When did you start feeling this? Did you start feeling this even before you started really expressing yourself in terms of your gender? And if you had these feelings before, how likely is it that it's actually caused of your environment as opposed to just a natural thing that you have? Because
The test might be to figure out when this started occurring, and if it was before the cultural or community influence,
yeah,
then it might be coming from something internal rather
Yeah.
than something external.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there might be some cases where your external influences are so great that it actually changes you to want to change your gender. And you feel so strongly about how your reaction to your environment was with your gender identity, where you want to switch. And the percentage of people that get to that extreme is a lot lower than, say, people that go through that and just go like, oh, I can still be a woman or a man and express myself differently. I can still be the same and be okay with it. I just accept the fact that this is what it means to be a woman or a man for me. But there is going to be a smaller percentage of people that go, this is not enough for me and I need to change. And the better we get at identifying that, I would say the the better it is to do it at a younger age. Because the reality is the earlier you transition, the especially from going from
The
male
better
to female,
results.
the better results you get from it.
Okay.
And the better results you get from transitioning, the more happy that you will be with your change. Like if you do it at 30, you won't feel as comfortable or with you might not in comparison to doing it at a younger age.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know if we wanted to talk more, but I just want to mention that like there are like I feel like it's never too late to transition,
No,
unless you're like there's like maybe like physical health.
sure.
Like
Yeah, I agree. It's never too late, but it's always better to do it earlier. Like it's never too late to start to go to school. It's never too late to start working out. But it's still better to have done it at 11 than to do it at like 40. Because then you reap the benefits of this thing that you think is a positive change for you for a longer duration of.
Okay. Let's move on to Mark if he wants to speak.
I have not done that terribly much research, like personal research on this. I've obviously read headlines of both parties saying what they very strongly believe, but I don't for something like this. It's not really. I don't like listening to the news for what they think I should think. I'd much rather do the research on my own,
Sure.
and I just haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I have a lot of friends from high school and college who have gone through transitioning, and I will obviously support them through it. I just my stance on it isn't very fortified.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair when you don't have a lot of information to not take a stance. What could you learn that could get you to form an opinion on it?
I mean, I don't know what I don't know, which is basically me saying like, I mean, obviously, I mean, like one thing I do know about is brains develop, but maybe that's not what I should be looking at.
Okay.
Maybe I should be looking at something else that I just don't know about. So, I mean, I'd have to spend a long time looking through a lot of things to actually give an opinion that I think is worthy of my vote.
Fair enough. I think I'll ask you both kind of that same question, but with a little bit of a twist. Is there anything you guys could learn or discover that would make you go from an answer yes or yes with an asterisk, I think you said, to maybe either a no or an I don't know.
It's gonna be tough. It's because I surrounded myself. Like I have my own personal experience, and I talked to a lot of people with other experiences. Mostly, I believe now that I think about it, most people who have a positive experience. Maybe if I talk to someone with a negative experience, I don't know how much of an influence it would have on my thought process. Again, I would be open minded to listening to like, okay, let me hear how it has negatively impacted you.
Yeah.
I guess, but
Like if you met someone who regretted taking the hormones and transitioning, then that might open up the possibility to that this might not be a wise thing. Is that what you're saying?
not I don't I think my standpoint is still very solid. It would take a lot of I think extreme cases for me to be like, okay, to put myself in the neutral zone.
Okay.
But personally with me because of my experience growing up, I do lean more towards like I support
Sure.
trans rights and like just different ways people identify themselves.
Is it possible to support trans rights without supporting hormones being given to people under 18?
Do you have an answer for that immediately?
Yes.
It is possible. Okay.
I think so.
So if any one of us were to say, no, I strongly feel that under 18 you shouldn't be given hormones to start transitioning, they can still support transgender rights.
Depends on the reason why they give it.
What would be a reason that that they could give and still support transgender rights?
If someone were able to show me that in the long term of the average person's life for someone that transitions, that it leads to negative health outcomes, like, hey, if you could show me something that shows you like over after 20, 30 years, after transitioning at this age, it leads to the worse health, just being worse, either they form cancer or any kind of thing like that, then that would be a very reasonable take. The same way we can be like, I'm in support for people making their own choices and doing what they want. But then I also can say like, I don't think people should smoke cigarettes. Just because I say I don't think people should smoke cigarettes doesn't mean I'm against people's freedom to choose what they want to do. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't smoke cigarettes.
Gotcha.
I want to bring out the like. I feel like it's the my. I don't think you need your hormones have to be any different to express your gender identity. It's maybe like it could help. Like it could help maybe like affirm, but how I believe is like you don't have to. You don't have to be genetically altered to express how you really feel, who you really are. Shoot, I was gonna add on to one of the points you said. Oh man, I flew out of my brain, but
If you guys were to discover, and this is kind of piggybacking off of what you said, hopefully, if you remember, let me
Yeah.
know. If you guys were to discover that these hormones had a potential risk, maybe there was a certain percentage that felt regret after taking them. Maybe it changed their body and they really didn't like them. And it was a X percentage. If you found out that that was up there, too high of a percentage for your liking, would you go from yes to neutral or no?
Okay, I remember the point I was going to make earlier when you brought up the like potential health risks of maybe transitioning. I think if I would like personally, I would be willing to take the risk in order to live a happy life.
Sure.
I wouldn't like to really be able to be comfortable to be able to express who I am instead of staying, trapped. But it really depends on how much like what you're willing to put on the line. Like I'm willing to put a lot of things on the line in order for myself to be happy.
I think it exists on the spectrum, like even something with like gender dysphoria, the expression of it also exists on the spectrum.
Mhm.
So it depends on how badly it's matched. I'll go back to the cigarette example. Like if someone comes to me and they go, if I do not get nicotine, I literally will puke and like cannot exist and cannot do my day-to-day activities. For that person, unfortunately, the reality is that they have to squeeze against it. And you just have to live with the consequences of that. But I think where it gets difficult is when we start involving people that are under the age of 18. That is when it gets a little bit more difficult to say. Like,
Why is it difficult?
we do not expect children to be able to make long-term decisions for their life, like what career we're going to do, where they want to live, how they want to support themselves. So I don't see why we can expect someone who's under the age of 18 to also make that big of decision of their life at that age. To be able to properly manage the risks and the risk of the decision that they're making.
I mean, I think we should also like keep in mind like children are still like we don't take their intelligence for granted. Like they still like they really do have like a different thought process, a different like they have different worries, and I think that's what makes it a huge difference. They're worried about school. We're worried about having to pay for college. And like it depends on people's experiences because some people who maybe weren't coddled as much as a child understand the realities of like are able to develop maybe a more forward thinking thought process and
Sure.
can in fact
Sure,
think ahead.
I agree. But on average, I would more so trust an adult over the age of 21 to be able to make a decision for the next 10 years than say someone at like 13 on average.
I like to paraphrase what I think I'm hearing. I think you're saying that you value people to make their own decisions, and that's really important. Like, get out of here, lawnmower. It's really important for people to have autonomy, to be in control of their life and what they do. But there's also another competing value, and that is like the protection of children.
I have to go.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm missing a meeting.
Oh no!
Oh no.
No, it's okay. It's only 6 minutes.
Okay. Run.
Yeah, I will actually.
Jump
It
on that.
was so nice to meet you guys.
Nice-
Jackie, Mark,
I didn't get your name.
Telly.
Telly. You have an
Nice to meet
Instagram.
I do.
Love to
meet
meet
you.
you.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
Meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you, mate.
You, as the neutral party here, was there anything that anyone said that you're like, okay, that might be something that might change my mind, or I should look into more?
I mean, I've thought. I mean, I've thought about it a lot without doing research. And I've already thought these points through. I really just need to get head to book. That was worded horribly. I need to look at some more data. I gotta figure out where to start looking to begin with.
You got to figure out what data to look at first.
I just gotta find and I also have to find both sides of the data. Because I can't just say, oh, let's only look at what the Mayo Clinic
join?
says.
Mark?
Oh my god!
What's up?
Yo!
I don't have time. Message me.
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
Okay. Oh, I forget everything.
Okay.
Wow.
She was my high school robotics team. Yeah, no, I think I tend to strive to be middle until I do my research to decide where I want to be.
When middle, you are like describing neutral.
I think it's more like I don't know anything, and I don't feel comfortable placing a vote on anything that I don't know. Um, like for this specific election, that this topic isn't going to be what defines who I'm going to vote.
Okay, so
But if it becomes to a point of like, oh, these two candidates think very alike, except for this one point, I'll look significantly more into it to make sure I cast a vote that I feel would best represent my belief.
so you vote for the candidate based on which issues or topics are important to you, and this this isn't one of them at the moment.
At the moment, there's significant major differences to where this specific point of view is just absolutely triumphed by, in my personal opinion, things that matter more to me.
Okay.
But like, let's say it's like we're trying to figure out who's going to be the Democratic or who's going to be the Republican candidate, and they think very alike, but the only difference is their view on transitioning. Then I'll do my due
Then you're gonna
diligence,
look into it.
and
Yeah,
B-
I gotcha.
and then I don't know.
That
We're
makes
given
sense.
we're given the power to vote. I'm gonna use it to my best of my ability. Gotta cast my vote always.
Do I sit down in the broken chair?
Yeah, he was.
Let's sit down.
No, I'll rock it. It's a little more
comfortable
than grip tape.
I think I'd asked this earlier. I don't remember your answer. I don't know if you did answer. So refresh my memory. I think I'd asked what you could learn or discover that would change your mind. Oh, you said if you heard other like stories about negative outcomes.
Yes, specifically from said person, because I know, like, what I've most have heard is like a lot of parents and like their opinion on their child, but you're forgetting that their child is their own person, and she or they can do whatever they feel comfortable with. And a lot of times, like from my understanding, is why a lot of parents have dismay is because they feel like they're either for religious reasons or like they are losing the person that they raised. And like
Yeah.
I'm not a parent yet. I don't have paternal instincts. I don't think I'm ever going to be a parent.
So it'd
so
have to be from the person transitioning, not from a third party.
yes. There's people like
Oh yeah.
because everyone has a different perspective on other people. I feel like no one could really understand how I feel, but I also feel like I don't understand how I feel as well. That just counters my argument, but definitely coming from the person themselves. I think I would like to hear first. I would keep an open mind to hearing other forms of perspectives, whether that is family, friends, people with disagreeing or agreeing arguments.
So if you went out and sought out these individuals who were given hormones as a child, and it was like split 50-50. 50 were like, I'm so glad that I did this. And the other 50% were saying, no, I'm not saying this is the case, I'm hypothetical. And the other 50% was like, I really regret doing this. I wish I hadn't done this. Would that be enough for you to go from yes, enthusiastically yes, to maybe neutral or no?
Don't think so because of my personal bias.
Okay.
I felt like gender expression is like a very huge.
Is there something else like supporting this? What is supporting this? That you wouldn't change your confidence.
I don't know. I maybe if society, I don't know. I think my stance is I think gender is like needing to be a defined gender, and like in order to, I have to have these qualities to make myself said gender. I disagree with. So I can't give you an answer. I really don't know.
Interesting. I'm not sure I completely understand. You said that you don't need these specific qualities to be this gender.
Okay, I realize where that conflict is
Like,
coming.
can I try to make sure I understand?
Okay.
I basically think what they're saying is they think that the idea of describing a gender as this specific trait is kind of making it hard because maybe what you're saying is what reason why people tend to transition is because they feel that they are more of a game, like more of a sports person. And when you think of those things, maybe you're saying that they believe that those things are only male traits. So you want to remove the idea that these genders have these traits.
In a way, yes. And like if you want like if you want hormones or need hormones to like in order to solidify your self identity, go for it. That's all game. I'm just saying like you don't necessarily it depends on how like strong your feelings are. Like I'm comfortable identifying as a woman and also a non-binary person because I think gender stupid. I'm trying to think.
I might be reading between the lines a little bit too much, and if I am, just say, "Hey, Pierce, that's not it. You got it wrong," because I could be wrong.
Mhm.
I think what might be supporting this is like a value of autonomy, like people being able to make their own decisions.
Yes, I think it's definitely a decision based. And like if some people believe more like physical, like I think I need to look like or I need to physically. I don't know how to phrase it. It's a very I don't know the best way, Mark.
So you might personally disagree, like that this person needs to have this trait, this physical trait, to be this gender, but
But if
but
they
that doesn't really matter. That's not what is important is what they think. Is that what you're saying?
yes, and like if they need hormones to reinforce that, then yeah. What if that's what makes you happy? If that makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I get that. I get that. And it, and that would apply to people over 18. Would it also apply to people under 18? Like someone who's 15, 16?
I'd say I gotta get going soon, but yes, with an asterisk. I want to follow up to what our friend said earlier, but it's hard for young people to make decisions that impact them 10 years and beyond.
Right.
And I think having them talk to people of different perspectives, and let them come to their own conclusion. Or hold on, that guy really looks like Jacob Elordi. That kind of sorry. Um, yeah, if they get different inputs, I think, and then they can come to their own conclusion with what ties with their values, their inner values, but also like, again keeping open minded, hearing from other people. I'm my phrasing's going out the window. I've been sitting
It's okay.
too long talking.
We can wrap it up if you guys want.
Class of 15 minutes.
What class
Luckily,
you got?
I got statics and dynamics.
I don't want to take my class.
Oh,
Sorry, we got off.
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I think it's pretty much a wrap. here,
Okay.
As far as I know, unless you guys have anything else to add.
I mean, at the end of the day, like my ideologies come from the concept that everyone truly wants what's best for the world, and they will do what they believe is the best way to do it. And it's my job to believe out of these ways. Sorry, I see someone I know. Doesn't care to notice me though.
Eh.
Doesn't notice me. Yeah, I'll
I'll
put it
take
in a
it.
bit, but it's good news
For you or for everyone?
for the team.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. in a second.
I think
Say something real
people just break out of your comfort shell. It's so hard to. It's a lot easier to say than do, but I think discomfort is a way to learn and go talk to more people, attend more things, explore. Don't just stay in your little comfy bubble. And you could really that could be life changing once even one like a little gram of information could really change the trajectory of your life.
So I can.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish what I've been saying. I think that like, even if those people I don't agree with, they still truly do want what's best for this world, and it's always a matter of which way you want to go about it. That's why because everyone I think truly has that intent in mind. That's why you hear everybody out, even if what they say sounds outrageous or crazy. You still got to hear them out, and then after you hear them out, then you can come to the conclusion if that's something you want to support.
I want to add on to that because I feel like if they're not heard or if they're not like given a chance, it kind of just builds, and you just it comes more like it snowpiles into a more very like negative in a way towards like, oh, people aren't listening to me, therefore I must be right or something like that. That was a very extreme example, but just giving everyone a chance, letting everyone be heard is so important. If even if they may be wrong in your eyes, give them a chance. Because
Hear
Yeah.
people out.
yeah, hear people out.
Okay.
I gotta get going.
Me
All right.
too.
It was a pleasure talking to
Yeah.
you.
Pleasure talking to you.
Here, I got 2 cards left on my
Awesome.
table.
Thank
There you are.
you.
There you are. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. It's great.
Yeah. Oh,